Senator Bernie Sanders in the studio live with us. Senator Sanders, great to have you with us. Great to see you.
Great to be here with you, Tom.
Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you your thoughts, and I believe that you and Barbara Boxer worked on this, on legislation, about putting a price on carbon. How do we do that? Why do we need to do that?
Well, the why is obvious. The scientific community is very, very clear that climate change is real. Climate change is caused by human activity. Climate change is already causing devastating problems in our country and around the world. And what the scientists tell us very alarmingly, if we do not get our act together, if we do not transform our energy system away from fossil fuel to energy efficiency and sustainable energy, the future of this planet for our kids and grandchildren and great-grandchildren is very dubious. So clearly we have to act, and we have to act in a bold way. One of the immediate actions that has to be taken is a tax on carbon. And Senator Boxer and I have introduced legislation to do just that. It would be $20 per ton of carbon. That amount would go up about 5.5% a year. We are going to do it in a way that impacts fewer than 3,000 of the most significant fossil fuel polluters in the country. And the reason you do it is people should not have the freedom, quote unquote, to destroy the planet. They should not have the freedom to produce an enormous amount of carbon dioxide, which results in warming the planet, which results in massive devastation throughout our country and the world. They cannot continue to be able to do that with impunity. And this is one important vehicle. The other mechanism that we need, of course, is as we transform our energy system, we have got to focus on energy efficiency and weatherization. We have the technology to do huge things in that way. And by the way, Tom, when you do that, not only do you cut carbon emissions, you also save people money on their fuel bills. And you know what else you do? You create millions of jobs. And the other thing we have to do is develop and increase our utilization of such sustainable energies as wind, solar, geothermal, biomass. We are making progress. But given the severity of the problem right now, we're not moving fast enough. So we are looking at a fight to save this planet. And we have got to be bold. We have got to be aggressive. Last point that I want to make. You know, you and I know a whole lot of people who have different points of view. That's what we do. And that's called democracy, and that's fine. But I find it really frightening that we have a major political party in this country today that has rejected the science, the overwhelming science regarding climate change. Now, these guys don't tell you that they're objecting to research in cancer, research in heart disease, but somehow or another, when there is research which offends the fossil fuel industry and big oil and big coal and the Koch brothers, people who, among other things, put huge amounts of money into campaigns and political donations, somehow they reject that science. And that is very, very frightening. And the American people have got to rise up and say, hey, we can disagree about this, we can disagree about that. But if our public policy is not based on science, then what does it mean?
What are your thoughts? Carbon tax is just a straight carbon tax. What are your thoughts on this fee and rebate program? It's sort of modeled after the Alaska Permanent Fund, I guess, where there's a fee, but all of the money that comes in actually goes back to the people.
Well, it's not all. I mean, in our legislation, we have a substantial amount of money that goes into weatherization. We are wasting billions and billions of dollars just in having energy going through our walls and our roofs. We want to deal with that. We want to invest in new technology for solar, wind, geothermal, and biomass. But significantly in this legislation, a very large sum goes back directly to people who may have to pay, short-term at least, higher fuel bills. So we are protecting those people who might be hurt. We are encouraging, in a significant way, the solar, wind industry, geothermal industry to become more productive, to lower their prices, and we're going to make sure that millions of people can cut the energy that they utilize.
That's marvelous. What's your sense of where Congress is at on this?
Well, again, you have a Republican Party that is, you know, look, I disagree with Republicans on almost every issue. But on this issue, to reject science is incomprehensible. Look, if the Republicans gain control over the Senate, do you know the new chairman of the Environmental Committee will be the gentleman who will have oversight dealing with climate change? It'll be Jim Inhofe. And Senator Inhofe of Oklahoma wrote a book I think it's called the hoax, the great hoax, something like that. He believes that climate change is a hoax perpetrated by Al Gore, the United Nations, and Hollywood. I think those are the perpetrators. He is going to be the gentleman chairing the Environmental Committee if Republicans gain control of the Senate. So that's where we are with those guys. On the other hand, what I can tell you is that among the American people, more and more see with their own eyes what's happening in their communities. You know, people who used to go ice fishing can't go ice fishing anymore. People who used to go catch fish, professional commercial fishermen, seeing what's happening to the fishing stock. People can see what's happening to the glaciers all over the world. So more and more people see the damage, and especially young people are demanding action. So the momentum is clearly with us, and we've just got to stick it to these guys and make sure that they address the scientific realities of the day.
In the final minute we have, do you think there's any hope for things being done at the state level?
States, look, when you have a Congress which is dysfunctional, when you have a Republican Party that tries to obstruct every significant piece of legislation, we are left with the states being bold and aggressive. And I can tell you that in Vermont, we are moving not as aggressively as I want, but pretty strongly in terms of weatherizing many, many, many thousands of homes. We are moving into solar in a big way, wind, geothermal, but we need to do more. Look, there is the scientific community, people who know most about us, telling us that we are in a crisis situation. And what's at stake is nothing less than the planet we're going to leave our kids and our grandchildren. So we have got to be incredibly bold, and I'm going to fight to make sure that happens.